Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Bitcoin update. We have seen sideways price action between 24.5k and 32k for the last 4 months, a very long period of time. And let me tell you, the last 24 hours of price action has basically summed up the last 4 months of price action very well. Up and right back down. Now, we retested 28.6k a couple of days ago, the level that I was actually expecting a retest off. I spoke about that level for weeks and weeks on end on this YouTube channel. I said Bitcoin's going down to that level most likely. We did go down to that level. That was a correct prediction. And now I've got the next prediction in store for you in this video today, as well as the most favorable reactions for each scenario, because obviously I could be wrong. Doesn't happen very often, may I say, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I've got you a profitable scenario for the downside, profitable scenario for the upside. We're looking into on-chain charts as well. We've got a very interesting chart in regards to volume on Bitcoin in relation to S&P 500 volume. And that shows us that a big move's on the way, as well as all the other data we've looked into showing that August will be a big month. But lots to look into in this video today, guys. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is back in a bit of a dangerous situation. Now, we had a very good analysis yesterday in terms of the fact that we looked into everything. We looked into long-term, we looked into short-term. Today, I'm looking exclusively into short-term. I might dive a little bit into long-term. I've got a few macro charts to show you in regards to a 5-day volume moving average in regards to Bitcoin versus traditional markets. It's actually quite interesting. And there's a few dates there that line up quite well with what we have in the past that precede a big move. So that suggests we can see a big move very shortly, because we've just printed on July 30th, the lowest 5-day volume average in comparison to traditional markets since January 5th. Now, that doesn't really make sense on the surface, but I'll look into that towards the middle of the video. We've also got BTC correlations towards traditional markets. Everyone's already looked at this, I think. Well, on this channel we have at least, but I need to look into it again because we've seen some dramatic movements on the S&P 500. And then we're looking into a bit of a 3-day chart. We're looking into a bit of the 4-hourly chart, short-term price action, looking into why. We're in a bit of a danger zone right now in the short-term and daily chart as well. But before we do any of that, before we look into any of that, I do want to quickly look at the Bitget Exchange. 5 times lower fees than Binance, optional KYC from anywhere in the world. This is the exchange I've used personally for trading for 18 months now. I reached out to them for a partnership. They did not reach out to me, and you can sign up using my referral link for a 15% trading fee discount, as well as $5,005 in rewards in the reward center by completing various tasks. Check that out with the referral link in the description below. Let's get back into the content here. I'm going to keep it short today, but we'll jump right into it on a daily chart. So why was yesterday so good? Why were we so happy yesterday? Well, yesterday what we actually did is we have this yellow formation here. This was an ascending broadening wedge formation that we formed at the top of this range. Now, the range on Bitcoin very clearly is between 24.5k-ish, this green zone, and around 32k-ish. This is a range we've bounced, from the breakup here. We tested it in February, we broke up into it in March. We've been ranging in this region for about 4 months, going on 5 months now. So a very long period of time of ranging in this region between 24.5 and 32k. We managed to get a touch of the top of the range, rejected, bounced back down here, bounced up, rejected again, and then we kind of were moving to the downside. Now, yesterday, we saw a big move to the upside, very dramatic volatility to start the month. And as you guys know, I believe that August will be a big month for Bitcoin. I'm not straying from that opinion. I will look into that briefly for those of you who are not aware of it in a second here. I do believe August will be a big month for Bitcoin in terms of large volatility. We have seen historically very, very low volatility. All you need to do really is just look at the volume on Bitcoin. Look at the volume down the bottom of the screen here, and you can immediately see that volume has been very, very sharply downtrending since the original impulse and since the original correction in actually all the way back in March. So, ever since we entered, now this is very interesting. So look what I'm about to say here now. Ever since we entered this range, ever since we entered this 24.5k range to 32k range that we've been ranging in for such a long period of time, this is a range we've seen a massive amount of consolidation, a massive amount of random price action. Ever since we entered this range, we've seen historically low volume. I mean, volume we haven't seen in very, very long periods of time since, 2020. So it's very important to note that this range is a bit of an anomaly, right? I can't say that word properly, but you know what I mean. It's a bit of a It's a zone in which there's no real clear bullish or clear bearish control. And for that reason, we've seen a massive amount of chop. And for that reason, we've seen a massive amount of consolidation. For that reason, we're going to be seeing a massive breakout shortly. Whether it be upside or downside, I personally believe it will be upside. I'm talking range-wise. We definitely could go down, retest something like this, but range-wise, I think we'll break upwards. The fact of the matter is, the reason why we've been seeing, such a low amount of volatility is because of the low volume. And that's because of the fact that no one's really certain what's going to happen here, neither the bulls nor the bears. Now, the bulls, I'll show you what their argument is. In fact, we'll bring up a unique chart here, a fresh chart. Not necessarily unique, but a fresh chart. The bulls know that Bitcoin is in a 4-year cycle theory. The bulls know this, right? If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you understand the cyclical theory on the macro. You understand that Bitcoin is going to go up eventually. You understand that Bitcoin is going to go up after the halving. The problem is the halving is all the way over here at this white line. Okay, that's where the halving is. And the problem is we've only seen 2 kind of phases similar to this phase before. So we're in the 3rd one right now. Obviously, you need 3 data points to create a trend. 2 data points is not a trend. Therefore, we don't really have a trend for this part of a cycle. Therefore, we're kind of in the dark. So even though the bulls are bullish long term, we still have a solid amount of time until the halving. Yes, there are indications that we should go upwards before the halving. But we've already done that, right? We've already moved up 104%. So even though the bulls are bullish on macro, that's for sure. They're bullish on macro. And look, even though the bulls are bullish on macro, they're still not certain what's going to happen in this local range. Because we're so far away from the halving. We're 9 months from the halving. We've got, 8 months now. We've got a decent period of time before the halving. And so it's pretty preemptive to be, using the halving's meant to be bullish as a bullish argument here in this local range. Now, the bears are still considering the fact that Bitcoin could go downwards and test 15K. I think that's completely asinine. I don't think that's on the table at all at this point in time. If we drop below levels like this, then we can start talking about that again. At this point in time, we need to trust the charts. The fact of the matter is, we're 3 whole ranges above that region. This was the range down here. We jumped above this range here. We're in a separate range over here. If we drop back into this range, then we can start talking about it again. As of right now, it's completely asinine. But the fact of the matter is, there are bears that exist and there are bulls that exist. The bulls right now are a little bit, scared to jump the gun with buys because we are a distance away from the halving. And the bears right now are scared to be selling and shorting because we've been moving sideways after a big move upwards. So both sides are scared right now. And this is why I get into this kind of narrative that I've been getting into recently, that there's like a battle that's going on. There's like a war, an unresolved war that's going on between the bulls and the bears. Now, on yesterday's video specifically, we covered the fact that we moved upwards very sharply and we bounced upwards very sharply from this low over here, 28.7K, 28.6K. Now, guys, if you will remember, now I don't want to shout out myself too much, but if you'll remember, I actually perfectly predicted this bottom here, this local bottom. This is a region I was talking about for days and weeks over here for a potential correction downwards, 28.6K. So that bottom was perfectly predicted. And so when we saw a bounce from that bottom yesterday, I was like, cool, sick. That's exactly what I predicted. We bounced upwards very strongly and we got back above the moving average that we lost, which was the 50-day SMA. Got back above that very strongly. Unfortunately, it was just a troll. It was just a prank, apparently. And we dropped back down below very sharply and saw a bearish engulfing candle. And now we're back in kind of we're tossed back in the deep end here. We're kind of in that region where we don't really know what to expect anymore. Now, this bounce of a 28.6K was very, very strong. Straight off the bull market support band, straight off major support horizontally. It was very, very strong back into the previous yellow structure. I mean, it was a perfect bounce, really. So the fact that it didn't last was interesting to say the least. We did see a big wick to the upside and grabbed a lot of liquidity from this volume profile, which we're unable to break above. Now, the volume profile is historical trading volume in this price region. We're unable to break above it. That's really, really where we needed to get above, really. I mean, that's why I drew this red line on the screen. This red line over here, that's the POC on the volume profile, 30.4K. That actually is the short-term region we need to get above to confirm any short-term move. And getting above that would also constitute a break above this pink descending channel formation. So realistically, Bitcoin is still in chop. We still haven't broken descending channel formation. We still haven't reversed the short-term trend. All we did yesterday was grab liquidity. We saw a fake out. Now we're on the way back down. Unfortunately for Bitcoin, we have also dropped below the second hill on the volume profile, which is over here, the second historical, impulse of volume in this region. We've dropped below that as well. We're testing for resistance. So right now, we do actually have a reasonable argument to be made that Bitcoin could be going down and retesting 28.6K. And that's probably where I'll rest my argument of short term. I do believe we'll test that region again. I don't believe it's substantiated in the charts for me to say there will be a breakdown below that region at this point in time, just because of the sheer quantity of support in that region. For example, bull market support band is nothing to be messed around with. We can fake out below it. For example, we did fake out below it here, but realistically, we didn't actually break below it. If you look at the weekly chart, it held very, very well. I believe we'll be retesting 28.6K. I don't believe we'll be breaking below 28.6K at this point in time. And the reason I say that is not because it's not possible, but just because I don't have any evidence for it. So how can I say it? Right? At best, I can say I'm not sure. And that's what I'll leave it as. But right now, yes, the short term has flipped back bearish. Yes, it was looking very good yesterday. It's not looking particularly good anymore. As of right now, as I said, I can't say we'll drop below 28.6k. We do have dramatic support. Stochastic RSI is near the oversold territory. RSI is reaching very major support, uptrending since March, since the start of this range. So I do believe we'll bounce again. And at worst, I'm uncertain. But I wouldn't say I'm short-term bearish right now. I would just say the short-term trend is still very much downwards because we haven't broken the trend of lower highs, right? We've seen lower highs consistently for, over 2 weeks, 3 weeks now. So, of course, how can I say the short-term trend is bullish? It's simply not. The short-term trend is certainly bearish. But what I will say is this. We are, technically speaking, in a descending channel formation, and in a descending channel formation, you can have a bullish overall structure with a bearish overall short-term trend. So in a way, it doesn't necessarily matter that the short-term trend is bearish, especially while we're above support. If we break below something like 28.6k decisively on the weekly chart, that's when we can start caring about this correction. But at this point in time, it's still a very healthy correction. In the same fashion that this correction here, that stemmed from April, was a very healthy correction. I'm drawing in at these red lines here. I'll make them pink so you can see them. Actually, I'll make them yellow so you can see them. That was a very healthy correction, even though it went downwards dramatically. It was a descending wedge formation, and so it's healthy, and so it was bullish. That could be a similar logic applied to the current time frames move. So I'm not particularly concerned about the short term, even though we're going downwards, even though we are very clear in the bearish trend. Although it is annoying, I'm not concerned about it at this point in time. Now, we do still know, and this is covering old topics here, but we do still know that a big move is coming in August. We have a very decisively uptrending logarithmic support line stemming back from the lows. We've tested it on 3 occasions here. We're coming down potentially for another retest. That is stemming at around 28k, which could line up with a short-term price action. We're testing that right now. We've got a golden cross on the 50 SMA and the 200 SMA. If you don't believe in crosses, I don't necessarily believe in them that much. They are simply support zones there that bolster the support line. So worst case scenario, we go down a little bit more and we bounce for support massively. We've got support on the RSI as well. And then we've got this kind of overall, as you can see, triangular kind of formation forming. And that is reaching an apex at the end of this month. So sometime in August, we'll be seeing a dramatic move, whether it be up or whether it be down. Not necessarily in percentage-wise. It could be a small move percentage-wise. I don't think it will be. I think it will be relatively large. But the fact of the matter is, it will be a large move in terms of macro direction shift. It will be a large move in terms of breaking above this line and hence giving us a trigger to start buying Bitcoin again. Or breaking below this line, hence giving us a trigger to start selling off Bitcoin again. The macro direction is much more important than the actual percentage size of the move. And I believe that we'll be seeing that during August. Now, a few other things to look at that some people might be concerned about. This is something I brushed over before. S&P 500 is finally breaking down from a massive uptrending, ascending wedge formation. About time, really. I mean, it's been moving up so rapidly. I mean, this thing has been skyrocketing, and it's been kind of hilarious in a certain way to see the bears kind of deny this move the entire way up, even though we've been moving up for close to a year. It's been kind of funny looking from the sidelines. I'm not saying it won't go down, I'm just saying it has been hilarious, and I've also been saying the whole time that you can't trust the S&P to drag Bitcoin downwards, and this has been reflected very well in the charts, in the on-chain charts. The Bitcoin correlations to the S&P and all other traditional markets, whether it be a reverse correlation, whether it be a positive correlation, have been decreasing steadily for over a year now, meaning that Bitcoin has been gaining massive amount of independence, meaning that at this point in time, until we see a shift in that correlation, I do not consider this move in the S&P threatening for Bitcoin. I just don't. Now, it's not positive for Bitcoin, okay, because it's not a reverse correlation, and it's certainly slightly negative, but it's not negative in the same sense that it would have been negative a year ago, because the correlation is significantly less than it was a year ago. So I'm not overly concerned about that right now until the correlation shifts back. That could certainly happen, and right now it has not happened. Another thing we can discuss in regards to traditional markets is this chart here. The 5-day moving average volume in relation to our traditional market charts from Bitcoin. And we can see that it's reached one of the lowest levels we've seen right now in July 30th, okay, since January 5th. Okay, so let's look at these actual dates here, because I want to show you a trend here. January 5th, when was January 5th? Well, we can go back to January 5th and we can see that January 5th was right over here before a big move to the upside. So that's one date, okay? So keep that in mind. November 1st was the other date. Sorry, January 5th was actually, it was over there. November 1st was the other date, and November 1st obviously was basically the top of this move before the move downwards again, and before another big move. July 19th, 2020 was the previous one. July 19th, 2020, if we're moving all the way back, was way over here. Okay, July 19th, and that was before a big move to the upside as well that actually kicked off the bull market. If we're looking for other dates, 25th of March and the 3rd of March. Now, these ones are really interesting. The 25th of March was actually just after the COVID drop, really, okay, before the rally to the upside, and the 1st of March was just before the COVID drop, before the rally to the downside. Now, I could keep going and go through all these dates here, but basically the point is, every time we get a really, really low level on these, on this chart here, every time we get a really, really low level below the 0% mark, we see a big move very, very shortly. And we've seen one, a very, very low level on July 30th. And that was just a few days ago, right? And we do know that we have massive compression pointing towards August being a big month. And so we can reasonably assume that there will be a big move on the way for Bitcoin, whether it be upwards, whether it be downwards. I think it will be upwards personally, but it is supporting our bullish, I should say bullish because it's not guaranteed to be bullish. It is supporting our big, I should say, August theory. So lots to look into on Bitcoin. Short term's been interesting. I covered it all in this video. I think I gave you a good insight there. Without further ado, I think we'll end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the Crypto Academy. If you want to learn how to trade, you can do it on the Become a Trader 10-unit course. All the information is on the website, and you can throw us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com. And finally, if you want to check out the VIP group, we trade altcoins on VIP with a 79% win rate. That's absolutely superb. Over 100 historical trades in our results. Every single trade we've ever taken in there is listed in the results. 79% win rate. 4 out of every 5 trades are profitable. Check out the VIP information in the VIP information group on Telegram that you can find in the description below. And finally, once again, check out the Bitget Exchange. All of that has been listed at the start of the video, and the referral link is in the description. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.